Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. Well, it's Christmas time and I want to involve Linda, my mate, with this. So Linda, you had something special that you wanted to talk about for this week's episode that we're doing.
I actually do have something very special. And I guess you could entitle this one Stumpy. And if your listeners are kind of chuckling, Stumpy is the name of a squirrel that my sister down in Tennessee watches. She and the cats and John, they watch for Stumpy. Now, Stumpy is kind of a deformed squirrel in that he's missing a portion of his tail and he's missing a limb. But it calls to mind how in the wild kingdom, animals that have lost a limb, it doesn't really seem to bother them because they adapt. That whole adaptation process where they begin to understand, okay, I need to do something different to make sure that I survive. So in the case of Stumpy, this squirrel entertains the cats, but he also goes to the feeders that Deb and John have put out. And he hops like a bunny. So he's decided, I need to adapt. I need to be able to feed myself. And so he's hopping around. He's still getting food. He's still surviving. And he's entertaining everyone in the process.
Well, you know, the reason that this has a relevance to a fishing program that we're doing is that fishing opens the world around us to the people that take part in it. And that's why I've always talked about getting kids involved. It gives them an opportunity to see the world around them. And the outdoor world is what really we're talking about. It can do so much for us. And so watching Stumpy is no different than me going out and wading the Grass River and coming back to tell you about the great blue heron that was only a few feet from me, and the two of us fished together, and I sort of copied him, and but we became part of the same world together. And that's what fishing can do. You know, I think so often that people don't, we look outside and we see like a picture on the wall. That's what the environment kind of is to us. It's like a backdrop for our lives with our phones and our TVs and so forth. But, there's such a wondrous world out there to experience.
And to participate in the outdoors, you literally have to become part of what that is. And so it does require a change in mindset, a change in understanding that you're exploring, as our historical adventurers once did. You're exploring the environment and you're discovering new and different things.
And I talked about something like this a week ago, and I talked about the fact that when I was a kid, the outdoor world I was a hunter, like a caveman, our hunter-gatherers type of thing. But as I've grown older and experienced so many times in the outdoors through my life with fishing has given me opportunities to see so many things. And you talk about Stumpy, and there's probably a lot of other Stumpies out there that people could enjoy watching.
Absolutely.
If they only make the outdoors not a picture, not a setting, but not a backdrop, but the world that they emerge in.
Yes.
That's what I think this is so important.
Become part of that process.
So you ought to make Christmas cards out with Stumpy.
Yes. My sister did send a picture, and he's a clever-looking squirrel for sure. I don't know if he thinks he's a squirrel or maybe he thinks he's a rabbit with the hopping. But in any event, an interesting story for Christmas.
Until next time, folks, this is Don and Linda with the North Country Fishing Report.